Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So we are going to go ahead and jump on in and take a look at just the how a past life is impacting this current life. And I'm going to go through the remaining zodiacs. So we will go Taurus, Aquarius, Pisces, Sag, Aries, Gemini, Scorpio, Ophiuchus, and Cancer. I did do separate videos for Virgo, Libra, Capricorn, and Leo. But these ones are all going to be together in one batch. And sorry, we're going to start with Taurus in just a minute, but I'm actually going to put these back in because we're not quite ready to get started. The timestamps will be in the description box. And I think, and I will add in this video, just for ease for later on, I will add the video links for those four zodiacs who have a separate video as well. They're going to be a little bit longer is what happened. All right, so here we go. For Taurus, let's begin. How does a past life influence Taurus? Right now we have discernment. Okay, so we do have see no, hear no, speak no evil right here. I'm gonna say that for Taurus, we either by the way, we have kind of like a look of maybe a geisha or something in a past life, but we may have somebody who learned how to like keep their themselves to themselves. They perhaps saw things, chose to like be very cautious. They could have lived in an era, Taurus could have lived in an era where it was like, you don't want to have loose lips. This could also be someone who's just learned from a past life the art of, like, for business sake. I mean, heck, this could have been somebody who was a terrific spy in a past life. Taurus could have been a great spy because they learned how to like carefully catalog information without giving anything away. They got a great poker face. There's something here where I'm wondering. I mean, certainly Taurus could have been in a past life a courtesan, geisha, something along those lines, or could have simply been somebody who understood the art of know when to listen more and talk less, gather information instead of instantly spout it back off. We've got an Eight of Pentacles and we have the Tower. So definitely, I think there could have even been, Taurus could have been like an appraiser, an art appraiser or something in a past life. They could have been somebody who learned to listen closely to what had most value, whether it was objects and art or whether it was information. All of this, I think, actually like freed Taurus. I don't know if Taurus was in a past life that was perhaps like during a time of great struggle, strife, intrigue, drama against some historical, time frame where it was like be mindful of information, and then once things settled back down, Taurus may have come out very, very wealthy in a past life because they saw where there were times to negotiate. They listened closely, gathered information. It almost feels like there could have been an era of great, like, upheaval, social conflict going on. And Taurus learned how to either like make a buck or learned how to invest wisely in a past life. And it's like when the dust settled, I think Taurus had a brand new shiny life with possibly quite a bit of wealth. Not ill-gotten booty or anything like that. Just kind of like it looks like Taurus was very astute in a past life. Okay, so how's that impacting Taurus in this lifetime? Hi, Denisa. Hi, RT. Sorry, guys, I still have paint on me. It's not boo-boos. It's just dried paint I'm painting right now. So I have it actually everywhere. I probably have some in my hair still too. And guys, just so you know, that other today's topic video that I for the 18th, that will be made public again. It said it's still processing, so I did it live earlier today for the 18th. Is going to process 24 hours. So I said, let me let members see it first, and then I'll make it live and available to everybody tomorrow on the 18th. So I'm not cheating anybody out of it. I thought, what can I do? Do I have to just sit it on the sideline? I thought, let me let members see it first. So anyway, everybody hang in there. The message for the 18th will be released as soon as it's done processing. And members, sorry if you're getting kind of a grainy vision or version of it. So we have got the Seven of Wands and the Nine of Swords for this lifetime. So for Taurus in this lifetime, how that past life is impacting them is it almost feels like Taurus likes to stay ahead of the curve. That Seven of Wands says they can see opportunities of prosperity. They can also see where there's blockages. With that Nine of Swords, I feel like Taurus can tell when somebody's sweating. I want to say Taurus is a very good read of people in this lifetime. And maybe it's because of all that discernment practice from a past life. If that's the way Taurus is running this, they're like, I have learned how to listen. I have learned when somebody's holding something back. I can spot people that are trying to block or gatekeep. I can see when somebody's sweating. It's basically Taurus can read somebody else's poker face, maybe because they got a really good one themselves. This Five of Swords is here too. There is conflict in Taurus's current environment. I'm not saying it touches Taurus. I'm saying Taurus is aware of other forms of chaos. And I almost think Taurus is like, I can tell when somebody's either hostile and holding back information, but I don't think Taurus ever gets into the melee. I feel like in this lifetime, Taurus is, we have a Nine of Wands sideways. I almost think Taurus is a very good mediator in this lifetime. They may find themselves oftentimes in this life meeting people, engaging with people that have a lot of stress. And if Taurus is like, of course, I'm used to this. I'm used to listening closely to what people are really saying, what they're really feeling. I see the hidden like agendas, or I see the hidden stress features. Maybe Taurus like works for, I don't know, some like I feel like Taurus is a really good human lie detector. Like they can see people's little facial quirks and little tiny ticks, and it's like, wow, I can see how stressed out that person is. I can see them in a state of conflict. This says Taurus maybe works with a lot of wounded souls in this lifetime with the Nine of Wands. But Taurus has a unique way of like making people feel safe. So again, maybe mediator, maybe this sloshes into Taurus's romantic life too. They may have a tendency to meet and deal with characters who maybe need somebody to like be very grounded. We got Three of Swords. It is definitely like Taurus's life work seems to be dealing with people that are suffering. Stress, heartbreak, how do those things manifest? Anger, bad behavior. I just don't see that it's Taurus who behaves this way. I think this is a Taurus who has learned how to not let other people's stresses and behavior touch them. However, I think that they are an agent of calm and soothing. They're like Taurus is a walking you know, cup of chamomile. Like that's how this feels. I feel like this is Ten of Wands. Taurus could be great in this lifetime at things like diplomacy. Taurus could be the person who could be a peacekeeper. They could be really, really good at bringing people to the table and calming down tensions. And God, don't we need more of that? This is awesome to see a Taurus who maybe has this natural ability to pay close attention and say, this is all like in the big scale. We don't have anything yet at like a really personal level that's come up. This is all Taurus's like life path and gifts have to do with them being incredible at diplomacy, whether they apply it on the global scale or whether they apply it, within their own family household. Either way, this Taurus is great at helping people find common ground. What about at a personal level, personal relationships? Nine of Cups. Taurus could definitely fight for the underdog. They could be attracted to people that are like, here he is, probably a fabulous musician, but he's out here just busking on the street corner. I'm wondering if Taurus has a way of saying, maybe you're not famous yet, but I can see your incredible value, worth, talent. I can see all of that in you because I listen closely. I see people that will go far in life. And I think in a personal life, personal love story, I think Taurus has possibly always been either attracted to like the unsung hero, the underdog. And I feel like people of great value and great worth. And I think that this makes people really fall for Taurus. I think even if Taurus has had relationships that didn't last or something, I would say all of Taurus's exes probably have something nice to say about Taurus. It looks like somebody who would be like, that Taurus, they treated me so well. They believed in me. I feel like Taurus could really stay friends with exes, which is very unusual. Taurus looks like a pretty awesome person. We have had some really cool messages. I know not very many people care about these past life messages, which is a bummer because I actually think that they're probably some of the most interesting stories we've had in a long time. I love the past life stories, but I've never had an appetite for it on my channel. But there was like a little handful of you who wanted one, and I was like, let me do this. It'll be fun for Friday night. So next up, Aquarius. Here we go, coming in at 9:41. Aquarius, how has a past life influenced Aquarius in this life? First off, the past life comes out with hope. So we may have had a character who either like, my first thought was somebody who was very spiritual, like maybe a nun, a monk, somebody who was, I mean, she's got little angel wings here. So I'm going to say that there's something here. I don't know if in a past life, Aquarius didn't live much beyond like, young teens, and they could have been like a very pure soul. They could have been somebody that like changed other people around them. They could have been very angelic. That's how that comes across first. But let's take a look. For a past life, who was who was Aquarius first? We have Seven of Cups sideways. We have the Lovers, and we have the Four of Swords upright. So definitely no. This is somebody who grew into adulthood, but could have been like 18, 19 or something. Could have been like, a first love story, and it maybe, I don't know if maybe somebody went to a nunnery or went into the seminary or something and didn't actually get to pursue love. It feels like somebody left a potential life that they could have had. They may have, in a past life, Aquarius could have left, their family, their mother, father, the environment that they were in. They could have traveled far away from everybody they knew, including someone that they loved their entire life and didn't end up with. But it could have been for a more like spiritual pursuit. This, maybe that's why I get this vibe that like maybe they didn't live that long. Well, maybe not as the life that they would have chosen, because they chose a completely different path after that. There's something very angelic about this character, but maybe they always hoped that either someone would understand, somebody would like, especially if they left behind maybe a Gemini, somebody that they loved, but it's like, I've got to go. My calling is, whatever, to go abroad and, whatever, go to go to Rome and, become a Catholic priest, or, something along those lines. It just says that in a past life, we certainly see Aquarius had choices to make, and they did choose to leave something behind. They chose to leave, I think that they chose not a path of like flesh and blood connection. Instead, they may have chosen a more spiritual path. Maybe that's what felt right to them in a past life. Okay, how is possibly that kind of energy? I mean, obviously, this is a character with strong convictions, right? And a very like sweet, beautiful soul. Aquarius comes across as a very sweet, beautiful soul in a past life. But who are they in this lifetime, or how is this impacting them, rather? We've got Ace of Cups, so they still have a heart full of love. This is somebody who, I do think that this is like an Aquarius who has like universal love in them. They can love bigger. I don't know how else to say that. It's not very graceful. But this is an Aquarius who can love like the world. They can love an entire huge scenario. We have a High Priestess to the Empress, and we have a Five of Wands. And this is somebody lighting a candle on all the cardinal directions, and then a white candle there in the center, seeing the entire globe, seeing the globe emanate warmth. We've got this like Gaia, Mother Earth energy, as well as this very spiritual component, and a baby in the middle, right? The High Priestess along with the Empress on either side flanking the baby. I really feel like there's something about Aquarius in this lifetime that has such, like, Aquarius has such great like goodwill toward mankind in this lifetime. And I think that they problem solve a lot. This could be, in this lifetime, Aquarius could have become a teacher. They could have become somebody who works with children, because they want to help the next generation of humans, find a better life. And maybe it's because that's what they believed in a past life too, but they're applying it a little differently in this lifetime. I just feel like in this life, Aquarius has such a, like, even if they're masculine, they have such a nurturing energy to them, and such a huge capacity to like look at the world around them and say, I want to light a candle for you. I mean, I feel like this could be an Aquarius who, in their own way, whether they're traditionally religious or not, they may send, protection or send prayers on behalf of, all four corners of the globe. I could see this being that kind of an Aquarius. Maybe they have their own version of, a belief system where they, send good vibes, but whatever it is, it just feels like that concept that we are here for something bigger, and we want the best for those around us, and we want protection. and we want the next batch of humans to feel loved and protected and leave them a good world, like that comes across very strong for who Aquarius is today, because it is about universal love. And I think Aquarius has been tapped into the universal flow in every freaking lifetime, is what it looks like. We have a Six of Swords. There have definitely been things that I think Aquarius was either, like in this lifetime, they either have had to move on from some very painful losses. And I'm, obviously we have this deer here, who a hunter got to, right? And I'm just gonna say, Three of Swords. I almost feel like this Aquarius is somebody who like hurts for any kind of a loss, but they also know you can't sit in wounds. If Aquarius has known loss, if they have lost a dear pet, if they have lost anyone dear to them, this Aquarius is saying, I know though, despite the sorrows, we should celebrate the life that each creature has had. And we should keep looking toward those that are yet to come. Take care of the babies, take care of the planet. Yes, weep for the ones we lose along the way, but don't lose sight of the fact that we're not just here to suffer. We're also here to like try to build something better and to think about building a legacy that we can pass on. And it can't just be a legacy of hurt and pain and sorrow. We have to be able to, we have got such a brilliant Aquarius. They could literally be somebody that is more scientific in their approach. They're quick thinking, super smart, but they're combining now like this spiritual, powerful belief system with like real life, like answers. They're seeking real life answers. This could be somebody interested in medicine because they want the next generation to be healthier than the diseases that currently plague us. This could be somebody who's interested in healthcare. This could be somebody that is like all about research and development because they care to figure out how do we not just send up prayers, even though I think that's a big part of what Aquarius does, but more than that, what actionable steps can I take? And I think that this Aquarius could be even like motivated in this lifetime to do things that are going to be like have tangible results that will make other people's lives better. And it's because of losses that they've experienced in their life. So this is beautiful because it's like, I definitely want to see things improve. We've got the Ace of Coins and the Eight of Cups. I don't know. And by the way, this Ace of Coins goes to the Two of Coins, and then the Eight of Cups goes to the Nine of Cups. In this deck, we have two cards being represented on each singular card. So I wonder if in this lifetime, Aquarius is like, I'm going to go ahead and pour all my energy into a particular path of my life, give X amount of years to developing something, working in a certain industry, volunteering in a certain industry. But again, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to do other things as well. This is but for a point in time, and then I must move forward. I think this is an Aquarius who has learned, and maybe this carries over from the past life. If in the past life, Aquarius left behind, never to return, the opportunity for them to have like a marriage and a home and their own family because they chose something more, like I say, going into a nunnery, going into a monastery. One of the things that they may have learned is, although, I mean, sure, that can be the life that you want to choose, then by all means choose it. But they were never 100% sure that that was the best choice. In this life, they're looking for more moderation. Having a belief, having something that you powerfully believe in, beautiful. But you may have more than one life path. Maybe in this lifetime, Aquarius is saying, I know not to exclude an entire other chapter of my life. If I have a mission in this lifetime where I want to, work in healthcare because I want to save every life I possibly can, beautiful. But I also have to have a family. I got to have vacations. I got to laugh. I got to play. I got to have times where I'm not just focusing on how do I solve a problem and only devote myself to one topic my whole life. Because what about my life? What about the things I'm supposed to enjoy as well? So I think that in this lifetime, Aquarius is finding better work-life balance, mission balance versus, life, like honoring one's own life as well as working hard for something that you believe in. And I think that that's a really important message. And I think that they know, I know I get really absorbed in stuff, but I can only give so many hours or years before I'm going to have to tap out and pull back. I can't just do this nonstop. One last message on a personal basis. Princess of Wands. This may be about the time that Aquarius is getting close to saying, I think I'm about done one career path. I think it's time that I dance more. I think it's time that I have a more lighthearted life. I've been working really hard for a belief or a cause, but I also feel like it's time for me to like listen to what else the universe is encouraging me to do. And it may be to start this new adventure, and it may be something totally different, something artistic. I don't know. I keep seeing cinnamon rolls, even though it's supposed to be the galaxy. Maybe it's like I worked in medicine and then I also opened a bakery because that's where my passion is. And after many years working in healthcare and trying to save lives, and I've also been a teacher and I've been all these things, I also want to do something vastly different, and I want to make the best cinnamon rolls. It's this Aquarius has learned, I think, the value of making sure that you balance life a little bit better. That's the way I would say this. I loved that one also. All of these have been, for me, they've been really fun because they're not all about love. Some of them are about bigger things, other things. Oh my God, the Leo message was like, whew, that was very, very much about love. Hi guys, good to see everybody. All right, next up, Pisces. Pisces coming in at 2127. All right, Pisces, here we go. So let's just ask, what is the message as far as like how a past life is influencing Pisces' current life? And we have Guardian Angel. So in a past life, how interesting. There's two different ways I could say this, but I'm going to say the one that I see it stronger. I don't know if in a past life Pisces could if Pisces was a medium, if they could obviously commune with those on the other side of the rainbow bridge, but that could certainly have been. Pisces could have had like an interesting connection to the unseen world in a past life. Tell me a little bit more about that. Seven of Wands and the Tower. If that is the case, then Pisces may have sadly been extremely misunderstood a little bit. They maybe were feeling like a bit of an outsider. I feel like they had somebody, at least I'm getting brother energy, that might have been like, hey, don't be saying my sister's crazy. My sister's sweet. I feel like there could have been if Pisces in the past used to talk to spirits that weren't there or something for anybody else's eyes to see. I feel like it was always beautiful though. It was always kind. It was always soft, but it may have been that Pisces' past life, was in an era where they were the person scorned in the village, or called, whatever, the crazy person in the village. And there was nothing crazy about this Pisces. And in fact, this was very sweet. Pisces could have been almost, prophetess, kind of, she's getting messages from ancestors. This could be almost like Oracle of Delphi type of thing. But it does say that it caused a little bit of conflict, or maybe a lot of conflict in a past life. So I'm very curious to see how has this impacted Pisces in this life, because either Pisces is full blown going to be a psychic in this lifetime, or they're going to be somebody who has learned how to say, I don't ever talk to somebody who's not there. I'm not sensitive in any way. We've got the Nine of Wands. We got the Four of Discs. Okay, so in this lifetime, Pisces is actively working on healing an inherited gift. And by the way, this Pisces could be Australian, but they did, in this lifetime, for a period of time anyway, they said, I need to not tell anybody that I'm super sensitive. I need to hide some of my inherited gifts. We have this Australian Aboriginal artwork, and obviously a very sacred space on earth here with all these didgeridoos. And I almost feel like no matter what Pisces gifts and background have been, for a lot of their lifetime, in this lifetime, they've been I can't show that to anybody. I don't know why, I'm just really reluctant to. Yet it's this beautiful inherited gift. There's something where the ancestors are still talking so strongly through Pisces. There's still this beautiful, beautiful energy coming through here. Princess of Wands. it feels like Pisces is just now starting to be like, you know what, maybe it would be accepted now. Maybe I could, like, roll with this a little bit more. Maybe we're in a more accepting era. Maybe I could find a way to openly, like, discuss or openly, just say, oh yeah, you kidding me? Like, my grandmother's with me all the time. It almost feels like Pisces is either going to start finding a more creative way to just say, you know what, there's a lot of gifts in the universe. There's a lot of un solved mysteries in the universe too. And maybe we're in a slightly more accepting era. Okay, look, we have got the portal twice. Maybe this is such a perfect time for Pisces to be alive, not just because they don't really have to hide any particular like ancestral gifts, but also because in this lifetime now, Pisces could be like very much, there's been a lot more found out about the cosmos and the universe, including a lot of mysteries that we've uncovered. Like, the more we learn, the more we don't know, right? There's a lot of, things like, we know gravity exists, but we don't quite understand gravity, right? It's something that acts upon us, but is it particles? Is it just a force? There's still a lot to learn. And I just kind of feel like we're in a little bit more of an open energy of like, you can hypothesize, you can throw out some wild ideas, you can study, you can, stargaze. Pisces could be quite a stargazer. They could be somebody who's particularly interested in, I'm hearing they wear beer goggles though too. Pisces might like brewing stuff. They might like looking through, they might wear glasses and they might laughingly like refer to like, whatever their Coke bottle glasses or something. But I think it's more like they look at things through a magnifying glass sometimes. Because I'm getting more like microscope stuff or like beer goggles, but if somebody drinks a little too is what it says in here. But not to excess, but more just like jokingly or something. Like, maybe that's when some great ideas pop up in Pisces' mind, when they're just like, laughing, talking with friends, having a drink or two, and just kind of letting ideas like flow freely. I could see this Pisces being a sci-fi writer. I could see this Pisces being somebody who is like really open to interesting conversations with unusual folk. And Pisces may have a habit of meeting people that are like astrophysicists, people that, have a background, or maybe they take classes in this, or they watch documentaries about things like the cosmos. It's weird because Pisces in this lifetime is still connected deeply to ancestors, as they're kind of like bringing their gift forward. They're still trying to look almost for like a sci-fi, if not hard scientific explanation for some gifts and talents that they still possess from that past life. We have the Empress. If anything, I would just say that this is starting to make me think that this Pisces may eventually get interested in things like trance, maybe just like trance dance or something like that. But there's something here about Pisces, like really giving birth to some new cool ideas that could be very eclectic, very, I don't know, like they're looking for answers to the kind of stuff that physicists would be looking for answers to. But I almost feel like Pisces could really contribute in that field somehow. But they may get like downloads, and they're getting better about that. They're getting better at meditation. They're getting better at receiving messages. What about on a personal level? 5 of Wands. Pisces in this storyline, in this lifetime, because of what their last lifetime was like, Pisces has several different right partners for them, and their life may be distinctly laid out in 5 different layers. They could have like 5 different, like decades of life that, when they think back, it's like represented. Like, maybe Pisces doesn't have their first boyfriend or girlfriend until they're like 20, right? But then after that, every time for the next, 5 decades, like every 10 years, there's a different partner for a different purpose that comes into Pisces' life. It feels like with all these candles lit in these different quadrants of the world here, this feels like at a personal level, Pisces has quite, like I'll say, an eclectic life. And I almost think that their breakthroughs, kind of the way scientific breakthroughs then move us forward, and it usually happens over the course of quite a few years, right? You've got all the studies that happen, and then finally you gather enough data and you see these scientific breakthroughs, and then they get applied. And so we kind of see like science can be looked at as like chunks of time. Sometimes it's way more than like 10 years, but that's almost how this feels. Like the breakthroughs that Pisces will have in their life will be with partners, but I kind of think Pisces is going to shift partners once about every 10 years. They don't have to, but it's one partnership that changes every 10 years. But I would say it's 5 distinctly different people because all these candles are different colors. Of course, our characters have free will, but in this Pisces is like uncovering mysteries, and it's done in a joyful way. And I think that's maybe why they have multiple like layers to their life as they keep kind of finding answers about their gifts or the gifts that have almost been suppressed inside of them. I feel like they'll keep evolving in their gifts and that personal acceptance of their gifts as they go. You guys, so great to see everybody. Hi, everyone. All right, next up, Sagittarius, coming in at 30:41. Also, I should mention, Taurus, you were the very start at 1 minute in. Aquarius was at 9:41. Pisces was 21:27. And now Sagittarius, I should restamp that, at 30:55. All right, Sagittarius. How did a past life influence Sag in this lifetime? So we're going to start out with the past life first. Awakening. Somebody else got that, and I think I want to say it was maybe it was Virgo or maybe it was Libra. I think it was one of the two that I did last night as standalone videos. So it might be linked to one of those two, but let's take a look. So the card of awakening, by the way, I'm seeing peonies there. I almost feel like somebody awakened to like love in a past life. I'm also getting somebody who had like vision problems or was sickly at one point and then healed as they got older. And so I'm wondering if Sag, like they had a more difficult childhood and they survived it, and then they really blossomed as an adult. And it's like, wow, for a kid who, like parents were worried that, their child was going to be ailing their whole life, and then instead they go on to be like somebody very powerful and contribute a great deal to society. It feels like that to me. Oh, we have a 4 of Wands. We have a Fool. Okay, so definitely in a past life, it might have been a slow start, but we have got adventure. We've got somebody went to Spain in a past life. So maybe we had a flamenco dancer. Maybe somebody started out as like a underweight baby once upon a time in a past life, but then Sag grew into a very powerful, well-known, possibly performer, dancer. This is kind of a circus dancer type, almost like somebody who traveled with a big top, or somebody like that traveled around and performed, maybe like a gypsy style. It's always so appealing to me. This feels like an exciting life that started out maybe with, trials, tribulations, and ailments, only to discover that Sag became quite the well-known, well-talked about. I feel like they had at least 2 marriages, or at least 2 people who wanted to marry them in a past life. So how has that influenced them in this lifetime? Let's take a look there. I kind of wonder if this says Sag met like their true match in that past life as well. So in this lifetime, we have a 3 of Wands. We have a 10 of Wands. So if anything, I think that this Sag is vitally alive. They, maybe because of how their life went in a past life, but they kind of picked up where they left off. They're like, look, it's all about what you can do with the time you got. I want to plan great stuff in the future. I'm always on fire. I do think that the Sag could either find themselves in a career path that allows them to travel all around the world. They could be excited about everything around the world. And just kind of like so vibrant is what I'll say. Queen of Cups in the reverse. I don't know that Sag has been very well understood, possibly by a mother figure in this lifetime. It could have been somebody was jealous of them, because I'm picturing Sag has like something very spectacular about the way they look. Whether they're masculine or feminine in this life doesn't matter, but they could be extremely talented. Maybe they're like a savant when it comes to like things like music. Maybe they have a beautiful voice. Maybe they're super attractive. Maybe a lot of people are drawn to them. Maybe Sag has been able to have a life that is a bit adventurous. And it almost feels like we have a mother figure who, instead of being a mother role, might have viewed Sag as like, how come you get to do the stuff I didn't get to do? I got cheated out of that. That's That's interesting. But in this life, they could have somebody that's been jealous instead of loving toward them. And yet, it's somebody that Sag learned to love in spite of that. So, a big life lesson in this lifetime may have been Sag is like, even if somebody that I know does love me or should love me is jealous, I'm going to love them anyway. With that Two of Swords in the reverse, I feel like Sag has worked really hard in this lifetime, maybe again, to just enjoy their life, to like they did in a past life. I want to live as big as I can. Life is too short to have, like conflicts with people. So even if somebody, especially a family member, couldn't love me right, I'm not going to spend my time hating them or spend my time, my whole life, carrying this burden of how come my mom was jealous instead of loving me. I think Sag is like, honestly, this world is too full of amazing adventures, and their problem was not mine to fix. So I love them anyway. It doesn't hurt me that they couldn't love me back, because I can see that they have some of their karmic lessons, but I kind of just want to make the most of my time here. So I definitely am not going to spend a lot of time being wounded and having to go through like trauma healing because a family member couldn't love me right. I just see them as somebody, I can love them for what they are and understand them for what I see in them, but I'm not going to get hung up on this. That's kind of amazing. This is a Sag who's like, listen, make your life as good as can be. That would make sense if Sag was like sickly as a kid in a past life, missed out on a chunk of joy, and then got to like really like love their life and be vibrant like in the latter half or in their adult years, but they missed out on a childhood. Maybe that's why Sag can almost understand or resonate or not be mad at a parental figure who is jealous, because it's like, maybe Sagi's parent had them really young and was jealous. Like, I missed out on, prom. I missed out on this and that because I was a parent. And even if I love my Sag, I missed out on those things. Maybe that's why Sag should have this weird built in capacity to understand what it's like to miss out on some things out of a childhood because they started out that way in a past life. That's a really interesting concept. We've got the Knight of Wands upright. In this lifetime, Sag has literally so much freaking patience, but they know how to clean up their act, but they are a little raging fire monster underneath. This Sag is a good lover. They're charismatic. I feel like one of Sag's most attractive energies is that they are so alive, and I think that they're pretty unabashed when it comes to like sensuality and stuff. But if they're in, mixed company, they're prim and proper. They can, they come across as very spiritual. But I also think that spirituality goes along with their like lust for life. It's like, you kidding me? Some good loving is a spiritual experience too. I just feel like the Sag is very blunt in the way they live life. It's really blunt. I'm not gonna, I'll be respectful, when we're out to dinner and, we're seeing your family. But as soon as we're, behind closed doors, I got a dirty mind. And they're not shy about it. We got the Five of Pentacles sideways, and we have the Eight of Swords. There is a chink in Sag's armor, though, in this lifetime. Things can shake their peace and calm. And I almost think this Sag, as much as they're like vitally alive, I the Five of Pentacles is dealing with things that we don't have yet, and the Eight of Swords is feeling stuck. I do think that as much as we've been describing this Sag as like lots of, passion and lots of looking toward the future, I don't think that this Sag particularly loves it if things change without their say so. They don't want their pattern disrupted. If they want to change it, cool. But I don't think Sag enjoys it when anything is taken from them. Like if Sag breaks a limb, breaks an ankle, heaven forbid, they are not a fun patient to be around. They are pissed. What do you mean I'm on crutches? I can't be on crutches. It's like, you'll heal. Maybe it's because they remember being, infirm as a kid or something. And it's like, I can't do that. I don't want anybody clipping my wings, I don't think that they do well as if they're sick, if they've got a head cold, if they've got to lay in bed, if a doctor tells them to rest, they're like, the end of the world, That's interesting, because otherwise they're like all about it. Like, change is fine, sure, but what do you mean you're telling me I have to change something and it's going to clip my wings? I don't like it. Don't like it at all. I like this Sag a lot. Hi, baby boy. Okay, you guys, I said I'd do all of this all at once. I can't because baby is here and it's so timely because I was about to get to Aries. Sorry, these ones are really long, but you know what? It's a Friday night. Why can't we have a little fun? I'm going to take my baby because he's asking for me, and Aries always comes first in my life, no matter what, because he's my baby dog. I do think you should have to come up and say hello, though, don't you think, my darling? Come. Oh no, he he headed for the door. You come with me, he said. I will be back. I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting. We're going to do Aries, Gemini, Scorpio, Ophiuchus, and Cancer when I come back. You guys are so wonderful. Sorry. Sorry to put this in several video chunks. I will end up making a post where I put the video links up so you guys can find these easier at the end. But and I will cross reference these and put the links in the description box also on now the several videos it took me to do these. All right, you guys, lots of love. I will timestamp these right now before I take baby out. Pimp C Reincarnate, you angel, thank you. Hi, Chrissy. Hi, Rupali. Denisa, Calm C, San Juanita, Moonbeam Wendy, Catherine Gordon. Hang on. I can hear him starting to go. "Aw." I better go. Love you guys. I'll see you back in probably about 40 minutes when I get back with him. Bye. I'm coming. I'm coming.